hunter-gatherers and nomads is part of that naming that come from the settlers. When European settlers first came to Australia and they saw Aboriginal people moving around, they thought they were moving just across country aimlessly. They didn't realise that they were moving within established estates of every different clan would have established estates. And those estates they would move around on a seasonal basis. Because they had no animal they could use as a beast of burden like horses and cattle, they had to move to the point of harvest, where that harvest was happening at different times of the year. And so people moved around within an estate. They were very protective of that. And to think that they were just hunter-gatherers moving around, nomads all over the place, is so far from the truth. People clearly had their own estates, their own lands. Yes, they would move around within that particular estate. That's because they had no beast of burden, where they could have a central village in a sense and then go out to the harvest and bring the food back to that central village for storage. Although some people across Australia did have some central villages. In northeast Arnhem Land, no, that wasn't the case. And people would move to the point of harvest when that particular food was necessary. They would also concentrate on when was the right time to burn a particular place for the production of food. They usually produce foods within the environment where that food grew the best. So particular animals, particular plants and so forth were encouraged to grow in those places where you didn't have to do a lot of tilling of the soil and those sorts of things. More like a natural farming process that didn't take up a lot of energy and expended energy or labour power to produce those particular things. For instance, at some point of time they might burn the top of a mountain and the wallabies would move up onto that green pick. They'd know exactly where the wallabies were when they wanted to hunt a wallaby to get some meat, food, and then they would burn from the top of the mountain down the side, down into the green grasses in the valley. So the fire would move down a little bit down the side of the hill, and the wallabies would then move onto that green pick area. They would do this patchwork type burning all over their estates, and they knew exactly where the wallabies were at a particular time. They also knew if the wallabies were kept in green pick, they would produce a lot more young within 1 year. So all of the thinking the people had around what they call Galngaran Walango Yirauka, organising and controlling the movement and the production around a particular estate, was their estate, wasn't the neighbour's estate. Sometimes it might be, as a young man, it might be my uncle's estate that I'm doing it on, but that was then for my mother's people. So a clear concentration on production of food, whether it's in the sea or on the land, how they could produce those animals or those plant life to greater quantities. And when you ask the people, when I'd ask the old people, why are you leaving 3 eggs in a nest, for instance? You collect the other eggs out of the nest of, say, the terns or seagulls or whatever. They would say to me, Walla to malabamani, so they can reproduce, eh? They thought it was a strange question from me. I thought it was a natural question because I thought Aboriginal people were hunter-gatherers, nomads. But when I asked them that question, they thought, gee, you Ballanda, you're a bit strange. You don't even realise that you've got to reproduce your own animals. So the traditional Australian culture is very far from that nomad, hunter-gatherer type mentality which the original settlers named Aboriginal people as.